We've got 2 Diamond Zergs lined up. You know what this means. Because if so, clue me in. I donated and he didn't do it. There's no donation. Are you sure you didn't just dream it? The real donations are for me to play Fortnite. I can finally get off this boring game. Jimmy! Thank you. We gotta keep... I don't want to get bored of the Terran theme, which is nearly impossible, but after like 15 times, there's a chance. So, back to this. Diamond Zerg versus Terran. Double trouble. Well, now we'll see. I'm gonna describe... I like to describe at the start, do a whole intro bit, but the biggest mistakes Diamond Zergs... most of them have passed the mistakes, or at least making the huge mistakes of Platinum. Platinum, the biggest obstacle, I think, to Zerg players improving. It's just where they end up and they have a lot of issues and get stuck, even though it's a relatively small league. So... Diamond Zergs are either really focused on macro, but sometimes just forget really important things like, oh yeah, I can make Broodlords. I can do it. I can make Broodlords. But they remember well after the point they should have been making the Broodlords. Or Vipers or Infestors or all these other units that win games. Or you have the players who have... instead of overcoming the obstacles, they've just bashed straight into them, and they've moved them just enough to get to Diamond. And what I mean by that are people who are like, well, I'm gonna Ling Bane all in. And then, I've figured it out. I just keep my minerals below 500, and I have a chance of doing anything else after I kill all their SCVs. But if you make the game go like 30 minutes and the Ling Bane all in didn't do anything, it's not going to go well. So there are the people who are moving up and the people who are grinding forward. And it doesn't have to be a Ling Bane all in. It could be like a Roach attack or something like that. Not like a 60 drone max out on Roaches situation, but like I have 2 bases and a bunch of Roaches, and I hope for the best. Stuff like that. Of course, this doesn't describe everyone perfectly. They're not mutually exclusive. Don't worry about it. It's very general. Everybody's special, but in very similar ways. Besides Mr. Dorito himself. So we're looking good so far. No... big build mistakes. Still mining 3 out of 3 in gas. It's at this point. I don't know if we're Diamond 3, 2, or 1. You can update me. But we should start thinking about, like, you don't need those 2 extra drones on gas. You don't need that gas early on. You really want to be able to get a 3rd base in a timely manner. Diamond 3. So we're baby.
Queen's ready. Find a hatchery to inject.
Good announcer pack choice.
God save your...
I think it's appropriate for Total Biscuit. I have to pay respects. And also, awesome guy. That he can still be smug from the grave. I think he would have loved that.
It's the fight
it's appropriate.
Waiting for.
And yell at you. So now we find ourselves with, I guess I'm you now. It makes it easier if I'm you, and then I can get angrier, because I get, the only people I get angry at in StarCraft, I'm digressing a lot, but are, lag and myself. Like, legitimate lag, I get super annoyed. Thanks, Australia and Singapore. And myself. I get really mad when I'm playing badly. So let me just, now we're us, and we're supply locked. at 36. It's like, you didn't know that Overlord was gonna die in his main? It always dies, but you got distracted by a Reaper. I'm sorry. Are we gonna make a random ass lair? No, but what are we gonna do with all this gas? Just not have more minerals. That's the simple version. You could have got the Evo Chambers earlier. Like, now here's the point, is what did the Overlord even do? What do we even see? A 1-1-1. Does that make you feel safe? Do you feel safe? Like you don't need Spore Crawlers? Or you don't need Detection? Or you don't need a Baneling Nest in case he goes Hellbats? You scouted because people say you're supposed to send your Overlord in between 3 and 4 minutes because that's when your opponent is committing to tech. But while making more queens is always a great choice, there seems to have been no allowances like, oh, he might actually make units. Like, still, you'll get away with it most of the time.
Good. Now I have your attention.
Make me feel safe.
I will correct myself. He did have a Tech Lab factory. I think you factored that in, puns intended. You're right, I'm wrong. I think you did, and that's why you made drones, and that's a smart move. It's always Hellions, so I just assumed it was Hellions. My bad. Good job. I mean, you can't just, like, not build any units ever, but just shooting straight up to 60 drones. Nice. I'm actually, besides the little things, looking pretty good now that I backed off from the anger to actually look at the facts. Upgrades a little late, layer a little late. Creep spread could use some work. The supply blocks were kind of silly, but we're looking good. You got 64 drones. All right, it's time to make units. Baneling speed. Give it to me. There it is. Hydra Den. There it is.
Your army has encountered the enemy.
You scout the third. You got the 1-1. A lot of Marines coming out. Only problem is the supply block that's about to happen. But good thing you can still make Banelings when you're supply block. Also, we're going to want to try to have at least a hotkey for some of your army units, so that way drops don't pick you apart. Select all army hotkey will screw you if he ever decides, like, I can drop here and here. I know it's crazy. It sounds crazy, but... And there should, ideally, I don't mind the queuing up, but I do that. Okay, you got enough money, just queue up the Hydra upgrades. Don't worry about it. That's like a Twitch chat GM, like, oh my god, queuing up the Hydra upgrades. What a noob. No. At least he made them. No. You gotta hover over that drone count until he's taken a third. Going over 70 drones is risky business. Like, this is why. This is why it is. Because you should have, like, select all army hotkey. It is going to screw you this game. I can already feel it. This map is great for drops. Main base is huge.
The ZERGS now 20.
Yeah. That's going to be the problem. You're going to have this great macro, you're going to have plenty of units, but then one medevac or one liberator or whatever in the main is going to be...
Now look at it.
Is going to kill everything. There it is again. Alright, Loco. You're fine now, like, almost 70 drones. Well, you'd like to have 70 drones. Okay, 15 drones. That's a bit much. Oh my god, is that a drop in the main? And there goes the Hydra Den. And this is why we don't always make it. This is why I make tech with the... Wow. I didn't think it would happen this quick. Well, that was pretty cut and dry, wasn't it? He dropped the main. You took your whole army, went to the fucking main. Dropped the fourth base. Took your whole army, went to the fourth base. Dropped the main. I mean, it's kind of easy to figure out what's going on here. But, like, right now, you don't need 70 supply of Zerg army to counter 2 medevacs. You need 30 supply in 2 different places to counter 2 medevacs. Now, despite all this, despite how badly that went, you made a bunch of drones, you didn't lose any bases, you're fine. Still, like, a recurring problem. You don't have the right tools for the job if you're not using hotkeys, but more shit counters less shit. And it will in 90-something% of scenarios.
God save your gracious queen.
Yeah. Infestate. I like the macro focus, but you gotta not. It's a crutch. You're on crutch. If you're using the select alarm, I'm saying this because there are no other problems. Like, this is not the worst problem to have. It is a problem though. But if you're using crutches all the time, how you ever gonna learn to run? You can't run on crutches, Forrest.
Better,
Figure it
smarter,
out.
Faster, right here.
The hive. The fact you remember to hive even after all that in a timely manner.
Wow, you mined all those minerals already. Drop everything. Your units are getting killed.
Don't drop everything. Don't listen to him. Okay, unfortunately, you've reached the classic diamond block. Which is, there's a time, like, usually when you feel you're comfortable, like, alright, I've done enough, now we're fighting. And it's rare when that time is over. Like, I'm sorry, why do you have... Oh, did you see something? I didn't see it. Nicely done.
Out of minerals.
I was about to yell at you for exactly this. Problem is, the Hydras kind of all die. And here we go again. At this point, like, you're a Laffy Taffy.
Your army has encountered the enemy.
He's tearing you apart.
Your drones are becoming an endangered
And now,
species.
just look at the mini-map. Look at how ridiculous... By the like 3rd or 4th time you dropped your main, you might have... You would think you would be like, maybe I shouldn't build all my important tech in my main base that keeps getting dropped over and over. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe, like, the best way to lose this game is to lose my Ultralisk Cavern before I get chitinous plating. Not the best way. The best way to lose this game would be to forget that Vipers existed. Which you won't do, I'm sure. Now that your hive is done, you have plenty of gas. Here come the Vipers.
Wow, you mined all those minerals already. Look at you.
Then we found a motel with a cigarette smell, so we knew we're close.
Mineral field depleted.
Might I point out, you've reached your hard block. 178 supply. That's where we'll be. Forget we can build anything. Well, actually, at this point, you spent your money. I'll give you that. Now, you spent your money right as your Ultralisk Cavern finished before you started chitinous plating. I like how you've just accepted. Like you simply can't, you will not, you can get to Masters with the Select All Army hotkey. Make no mistake. You absolutely can. But doesn't it feel bad when you get, you know you're gonna get dropped again. You know you see the medevac, you know it's gonna happen, and you're just like, well, I guess it's gonna happen. And that's all I got. Let alone using anything like Vipers or Infestors. Even though you can use a hammer to break through a wall, you can use the fucking hammer. Wouldn't it be easier if you just had a door? And you just unlock the door and use the key that is the fucking Vipers? That made sense, right? That made sense. Or you could just continue barreling up ramps into siege tank. What were you even fighting for? You weren't even on a base. What are you fighting for? To kill some Marines. Alright. Good luck. Like, it's really painful. I wanna reiterate. I wanna take this time before this game's about to go off the rails. I can feel it. You know how you know? And it's not like I have some incredible mystical sense of StarCraft or whatever. It's a Zerg player who just doesn't have the right tools for the job. He makes more... It's another blunt object versus a wall situation. No Spire, no Vipers, no Army Hotkey. The Terran player keeps trying to micro his heart out like a salty diamond Terran. He's like, I dropped him here, I dropped him there, I dropped him here, I dropped him there, I dropped him here, I dropped him there. I forgot that Ghosts and Liberators ever existed. Why didn't I win the game? Whereas the Zerg player is gonna keep swinging his hammer around trying to hit all the drops, which move way quicker. So we're gonna fucking find out. But, I reiterate. I digress, rather. Before that, like, your macro was good. We're at the point you have to work on your micro. So congratulations. You've graduated to micro school. And by that I mean there has to be some of it. Like, there has to be a little bit. Like you need to not have all of your units in one place and not other places where there are drops. Attack. Okay, okay.
The Zerg, now 20 mutation complete. Your Zerg are now
Now,
extra
you usually want to split. You never want to go in one angle against tanks.
Pruning your drone count. Drones have many natural predators.
Uh-oh.
Here they come now.
He dropped you
You're
at all.
engaging the opponent.
It's a disaster. What a hero. Good thing that Ultra popped out. Unfortunately, your whole army is up.
Mineral field.
Was this intentional, or did your army just happen to attack? Doesn't matter.
Idle work with this going.
That was intentional.
Wow, you mined all those minerals
Hammer
already?
time.
It's the fight you've all been waiting for.
I appreciate how little what you watch your army. That's a compliment.
Your forces are taking damage.
Wait, what? Is this still your camera? Yeah. But one medevac will drag back 60 supply of Zerg, even though it's already being dealt with. They're all coming back. You got crutches and an anchor, all at the same time.
You've evolved the swarm. How forward-thinking of you.
Is there a way I can disable the select all army hotkey? I unhotkey it, but I keep clicking it. You gotta go to quadruple A. You need to find a sponsor, and you gotta go to quadruple A. You've heard of AA, you've heard of AAA. You gotta go to quadruple A. Unfortunately, that is all Army Addicts Anonymous. Of course, you're not anonymous, so that kind of screws that whole thing. Like, you have to do something that you somehow feel less pressure. I don't know, like, the easiest way. If you keep, like, you have to, like, right now, whatever your MMR is, and if you just got Diamond 3, you definitely don't want to drop back down to Plat. So there's a lot of pressure there. That's how it goes. You have to be, like, right now, what are you, 3,800 MMR? No, you're not. You're 3,500. Any MMR over 3,800, you do not deserve. You don't deserve it. It's a shame upon you and your family Until you're 3,500, you're not a true Zerg player. At 3,500, if you feel like it, you can use the Select All Army hotkey again. Okay? But until you drop to 3,500, without using the Select All Army hotkey, you are shaming yourself and everyone around you.
Do you think that upgrading that swarm...
Once again, the All Army hotkey definitely has its uses. But if it's all you use, you literally don't use any hotkeys, you need to figure out if you can play without it. Otherwise, you're always going to be on crutches.
Death Beasts was wise.
It's not bad to use it, but to use it exclusively is definitely going to hurt. No. He was talking about how he unbound it and then he's clicking it. Which is just like, you had 2 crutches you were using before, and then you just are now leaning on 1 crutch. So it's even worse. Like, you tried, failed, and then just decided to live with it.
The other guy is attacking you.
Put a sticky note over the monitor. He'll learn to click it blindly.
Let's guys are exhausted.
I think it was there in Wings of Liberty. It was not. The Select All Army hotkey was added with Heart of the Swarm.
It's the fight you've all been waiting for.
By the way, you have not upgraded your Hydras at all. It'd be nice if they had some upgrades, right? At this point, like, from this point, it's just entertainment value. Because it's not, this part of the game, there's nothing I can tell you to improve this part of the game if you're still walking on that 1 crutch. Like, you can't use Vipers if you spam the Select All Army hotkey, because they just fly into Marines and die before you can use them. You can't use Infestors, same reason. You can't use other army compositions. I mean, this isn't a bad army composition, but, like, there's no other tactics you can use, because you're stuck with this very, very small, narrow set of options. All I can do is teach you how to build a slightly bigger hammer, and if you want to keep swinging it around, okay, but...
Depleted.
Slightly bigger.
Wow, you mined all those minerals already. Out of minerals, idle workers are so untidy. The other guy is attacking you.
I do hope you lose this game, but...
You have a new massacre, bloodbath, carnage, butchery.
That was some of the best announcing there.
You are fresh out of minerals at that base. I remember when this was all minerals. Now
It's like trying to hammer a screw.
look at it.
Good. Now I have your attention.
The other guy is attacking you.
I feel personally attacked, yeah. Oh my. He's going triple planetary. You got one. But we're
Out of minerals, idle workers are so untidy.
Get him, Ultra! Oh wait!
You're engaging the opponent.
How you doing, Florencio? If you just got here, you missed my 20 analogies about how he's addicted to the Select All Army hotkey. Essentially, he plays like you, except he tries to play a macro game as Zerg, so it doesn't work.
That geyser is... Your forces are taking damage. Massacre! Geyser empty.
Using the Select All Army hotkey is fine if you don't have an army.
Glad to stay.
Wow, you mind all...
If your army is probes.
Mineral field depleted.
You geared
I remember when
FR.
this was all minerals.
Vipers
Now
are
look at it.
overrated. No, they're fucking not.
You are fresh out of minerals at that base.
Alright, we're going to... Welcome back to Diamond League Disasters. We're gonna... Let's look at the units lost tab. This is, quite a mess. Oh my god.
Yes, yes, yes. Just as I deserve.
Oh, Florencio
We need
Angry
another
Conch Shell?
Florencio Angry Conch Shell.
What? Conch Shell? How many workers? 85 drones to 44. I don't know if we have any more replays. We might. I forget. Yeah, this is... He may win through brute force. I'm not sure yet. This is a pain of a map to engage Liberator Tank as well. The choke points and the way you have to move around is a real pain. Wow. Those Liberators are racking up the kills. Now we see the immovable object and the, of course, unstoppable force. Well, very stoppable force, so. Remember, Zerg has 84 drones, so army supply is actually about even. Okay, not as even now. That's a lot of Liberators. That is a disgusting amount. The Venn diagrams of freedom. Yeah, Broodlords could have potentially won the game a while back, but Broodlords take a little bit of micro, so that was out of the question. Got him. Yeah. Reigns freedom. Wait. I think at this point there's like a 60% chance of the Zerg player GGing for no reason. It's like, well, he got a few goes and killed my bases. He's got some battle cruisers. Well, he wins. Here comes the hammer. Well, that was exhausting. So this was the best possible example of why not to use the Selecto Army Hotkey. Well, not best possible example, but one of the best. Despite that, it's an A-. Because in most scenarios, on most maps, it won't be that much of an issue. And the focus on macro was quite good. Really solid. Now, what he did with his units, not so much. But that's not what matters. So, still looking solid, but he got those crutches. Hope scores to get out of gold. The hope score is what I think. It's essentially the likelihood I think that you'll get out of, you'll move up at least a tier, if not a league. But in Diamond, going from tier 3 to tier 2 is essentially a whole league from like Plat to Diamond. If you play a medium amount of matches, it's not like Diamond to Masters, Diamond to Diamond 2. It's if you play a medium amount of games, and I define a medium amount of games, what I think is a reasonable amount, is 5 games per league. So 5 games for bronze, 10 for silver, 15 gold, 20 plat, 25 diamond, 30 masters. If you play, for example, I think if QAZ plays, now people are different. Some people need more games, some less. 25 games a week, I think within a month, it's likely he'll move up to Diamond 2. Based on what we saw there. The even line is C. C is, I don't think it will happen. There's bigger issues, but I don't think, like, you got lucky to get here. Anything below C is like, how good is your cannon rush? Like, that's pretty much the, most people who send it in that have the intent of actually learning are already above a C because they have that in the first place, just by default. So, I think almost anyone with a focus, like playing a medium amount of games, 20 games a week or so, can improve and rank up in a month. Like, I think it's the vast majority. Not all, but the majority. With that, let's go to another Diamond Zerg. Up until, like, Diamond 1-ish. And then you probably need to get more specific. I think people underestimate. This is an aside. I think people underestimate how important, much like any other skill in life, just having practice is. Now, everybody's different. I'm a grindy player. I play a lot of games that helps me get better. But for example, speaking a foreign language. Say you speak German. Mein Deutsch ist nicht gut. And it's not getting any better, even if I know some German words or phrases, if I don't speak German to people. I can be book smart. I can be like, well, that's what that word means, but in context or actually seeing it happen or experiencing it, it's gonna be kind of useless. So the same goes for StarCraft. Like, you can be a Twitch chat grandmaster. You can watch Special and Hero Marine and Demuslim and Maru play 24 hours a day. That's not gonna help you very much till you actually practice it. With that, we have another Diamond Zerg. What level of is this Diamond 1, 2, 3? Maru streams on Africa TV now. They probably paid him a bunch of money, so good for him. The Korean streaming site. Diamond 3. So we have the same. Now, before we get into it, would you describe yourself as having the same problems as our previous Diamond Zerg? I already don't think so, and I'm basing this on very superficial things. You're not subbed to me, which means you don't watch me that often, probably, because if you did, it's not like you don't necessarily have the means. But most people that watch long enough get a gift sub randomly from the generous motherfuckers we have. We have so many of those, like thousands. It's near to 2,000 gift subs out of our close to 5K. So what that means to me is you're going to be a toggle Zerg. And once again, basing this on very little. A toggle Zerg is a player who, there's a red dot on the map, there's a Reaper, nothing will be produced until I deal with this Reaper. Or, there's a medevac, nothing, this medevac, as long as there's a red dot on the map, we cannot macro. But, if you prove me wrong, my stereotypes will be shattered. So let's find out. Most players who, regularly, like, I see regularly or send things in or play, or I see them in tournaments and stuff, they have macro issues, like using the Selecto Army hotkey too much. But a lot of players who haven't had more shit counters, less shit pounded into their brains by my grating voice over and over and over again have micro issues. Wait, the opposite of that. The opposite of that. Macro issues, as in they don't build enough shit. Whereas on the other side, it's micro issues in that they're building the wrong things or anything. You got, yeah, the opposite of what I said. Very confusing. I confused myself now. I don't even remember how I started this. I start my sentences and then I hope we get to the end okay, much like most of your builds. Alright, there's a Marine. Is that the end of the world? No. Okay. It's just one Marine. We're looking good so far. And he doesn't have an expo, which is... What are you doing? This is very suspicious. So, okay, alarm bells. Where are the alarm bells? No. This is the classic example of, well, I scouted. All the guides say I should scout. Except he has no add-on on his barracks. He has no expansion. He's obviously hiding something. And you decide, some more drones, some more gas geysers, like, we're looking good. In what world do you think 6 more drones are the right call? Okay, 30 drones. You want to get a 2-bit... Do you feel like there is no threat? Because right now, your unit count is 2 queens.
2 years playing
That
this
is
game,
not enough
made it
queens.
to D2. Today,
Unless you are somehow
so much
magically
all
convinced
around
he's
the
expanding. Like he has a command center and he's just bad. You can never rely on that. So, let's just make it very clear. Right now, you're just getting lucky. You're just lucky that he's so bad he doesn't attack you in a timely manner with like a 1 base. Nothing you have scouted has justified your response to the extent it has been. But, a lot of the time you will get lucky, because every Diamond Terran player wonders how Zerg has so much, even though they did so much damage. You see the fusion core, he's going to get in, he's going to kill 20 drones of the battlecruiser, you're still probably going to win because you still had 40 more drones. But I do want to make it clear, he could have pulled the boys and had 15, 20 Marines and just killed you. And so, like, at least make more queens and, like, a spore crawler. That would... A lot of people probably be like, well, what do you mean? What should he have done? He should have... Upon scouting no expansion, immediately started more queens at the very minimum. Like, you have no idea what he's doing, but he doesn't have an expo, and you have 3 bases. More queens! No, now, no. Okay. Now we're panicking. Oh my god. Yes, battlecruisers are scary. You know, you got 46 rounds. I don't mind the triple spore. That's fine. What about the main, though? What did you think was going to happen? You built 3 spores at the 3rd. You built 3 at the net. He has a massive capital ship that can teleport instantaneously to anywhere on the map. Why was the main base not under consideration for anti-air defenses? Well, this fucks everything up. Yeah, this is super bad. And I was wrong. You're not a toggle Zerg. I was stereotyping. You built 15 more drones. That is the correct counter. Which leaves you, now that you lost 8 drones, now you're only up by 30 drones. So, wait a second. Let me predict. The Evo chambers start at 6 minutes and 17 seconds. You know why? I'm going to explain why. He's going to do the creep a little bit. How much larva? There's a little bit of larva. Maybe we'll make units. And at that point, he'll realize, oh, I can't build anything and I have a lot of resources. We might get a check on the overlords. And then, Evo Chamber time. Overlord, inject, boring, boring. Get into gas. Oh, well that fuck. I didn't expect a battlecruiser to come floating in. It ruins everything. Okay, whenever the battlecruiser's off the screen is when the Evo Chambers... Wait, what? What? You're just gonna lose the battle... What? Oh, it's off the screen now. Okay, now's the time. If you don't make them, I'm gonna be... Well, that's your problem. Like, your 1-1 could have already been done. This Vanling Nest. Oh, God. This is a big reason of why diamond players are diamond. Like, there are check marks. There are check boxes. Okay? It's just, well, they're check circles. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them that you gotta check. And eventually it's like, we got fucking, 50 workers. Okay. We got upgrades. We got, we'll do ZERG specific. We got a layer tech. We have all the speed upgrades for all the things that you usually forget. Stuff like that. And diamond players are like, oh, well, I checked the box. See, I got it. Eventually, I got these things. But there's a timer. The longer you take, the worse it is. And the fact that you do not have 2 Evo chambers, let alone existing, they could have finished 1-1 upgrades, or at least had it most of the way through, is a big mistake. I don't care how many fucking battlecruisers jump in your... Okay, I do. If it was more than one battlecruiser, that would be very concerning. But these are the type of things. And then it's not just the 1-1 upgrades. It's like, I waited a minute until I got my 2-2. These things add up. Like, you're getting some creep out there. Still have not remembered those Evo chambers. There we go. Now the question will be if they start upgrades immediately or not. He got 2 engineering bays like a minute ago, if you were watching the production tab. Notice how many upgrades he has? By the time, if you had been, just very simply, if you had been on top of your upgrades from the start, you could have had 2-2 by the time he had 1-1. You could have had 2-2 versus 0-0. Now, you don't know necessarily he's going bio, but your units are just way better then. It's never, like, the counter is having more better shit. Whereas a lot of players are just looking for, like, what unit to build. And that's just not the answer. Your power drill doesn't work without it being plugged in. Something like that. You got the 1-1. Usually you want to prioritize getting the Carapace upgrade because it works for everybody. I do want to apologize for assuming you were a toggle Zerg, by the way. I partially just wanted to say that and get people to subscribe. But it's true. Sometimes people will be like, well, I don't want to sub because all I want him to do is yell at my replay. And now why is he being so mean? I don't like this channel. I'm going to go tell other people about it. Moving on. Did you know if you listen closely, you can hear what dies in dropships? You may have noticed the deaths of 8 Marines. They had families. He didn't care. Okay, so a little bit. This happens a lot. It's understandable, but the further away your army is from your base, the less you remember your base. Like, you got 1,400 minerals and 1,700 gas. You might be like, well, I'm supply blocked. Yeah, that's a problem in the first place, but you only got 2 overlords on the way. Those overlords are going to finish. You're going to get supply blocked again. And then it's just going to keep happening. Oh. You made 2 more overlords. Well, not a good example. Yes, but also your music was blowing my ears out. What? What? What kind of context? What context is that from? Silor? The fuck? Why are we talking about my amazing, incredible music and mixes? Did you just goop about the medevac with Marines? This is blowing your ears out?
Every song I download has to pass
So
a
you
series
grouped
of
a
rigorous
planetary.
tests to answer one simple question.
And it's actually a good
Is
idea.
it a banger?
And this was
How many beats per minute? How many
I don't know if
drops?
I've ever seen
How
this.
dope are the drops?
That's actually a sick
An
move.
acoustic instrument to use?
Anyways.
If so, then it's not a banger.
I was dying when you pulled me in. I was your rebel and you were my girl. It was us against the world.
Okay, we blew everyone's ears out. Now it was justified. Let's get back to the game. Just one moment. Where were we?
Radio.
Nice scoop on the planetary. Wait, does he not have a third? Ah, the classic Terran move. Yeah, like... You gotta build units even if your units aren't in your base. Like... You have to. You gotta do it. Did you need 36 more lings here? Or maybe, would 30 more Hydras have cut it? Especially considering there are 3 battle cruisers. There's no easy tip there. Like, you just gotta watch your own replays and be like, oh, I was banking a fuck ton of money because I was so distracted by my own actions. Did not kill the base. So close. Seven Vipers. Okay, so you've discovered what Vipers are. That's better than most. I'm sorry for everyone I woke up. You mean the stream wasn't entertaining enough to... What are the... Oh, battery packs. I like it. Why are you making 48 lings? Oh, because you have no lings. Okay. I thought you just made a bunch of lings. But you did not. Almost killed your own hatch with Vipers, but... I forgive the lings. Do you remember the adrenal glands upgrade? That allows lings to attack 40% faster? They already attack fast, but then they get upgraded to attack really fucking fast. You did. You did. Good job. You know what they're not great at attacking? Supply depots with a bunch of tanks behind them.
Mineral field depleted.
Moving on. Very dead Zerglings. Very dead. Super dead. So, I like how you're getting all of the tech. So, I like the contrast. I was actually planning on having this be a whole, like... I'm glad you are not the same player as our last player. You're both macro-focused, pretty good about that, despite having mediocre critical thinking skills. But since you're not tied to the Select All Army hotkey crutch, you're able to use units that are going to reliably win you the game. You could also just build like 15 Ultras and 50 Banelings and probably have the same end result. But some good blinding. Well, the Infestors, this is the danger, is that you focus too much on being Harry Potter with some intense spellcasting. You focus a little bit less on the, just killing him. I love this bug. I don't know if you have the war chest or not, or it just doesn't show up in the replay, but I do. So, since I do, even though right now this is you, do you hear it burning? In the war chest, the hatchery burns because it has those simulant skins, the mech skins. So you can hear the hatchery burning. One, you can't repair it with the mech skin; it just heals eventually. It doesn't actually burn down. But you hear it in the replay. It always weirds me out. Like, is there a flying command center over here or something? Anyways, another tangent.
Mutation.
I feel like you've been a little bit too heavy on the Harry Potter build. But oh my god, that planetary took a while to die. Ow. Okay, so not the best infestor usage I've ever seen. It took 10 infestors, but infestors 1 through 9, slaughtered. Infestor number 10 got that fungal off. And that fungal may have just saved you. Alright, alright. I know it's easy to panic, but does 26 Corruptors seem like the best investment? Queen Broodlord, here we go! Get 'em, queens! Where, Brenda? Alright. No, you're fine. So yeah, those spellcasters could use some You have been multiple times hit by Widow Mines. You do not stack those Corruptors up like they're a deck of cards. But you do win. The ideas were good. Classic. I'm also gonna be forced to give you an A-. It's another A-. Because macro's good. But the difference between you and QAZ is that he's better. His hammer hits harder. Okay, he put everything into that hammer. It's not the precision instrument, but it hits harder. You have other tools at your disposal. You're able to use spellcasters, barely, but the macro was good. The focus on drones were good. You need to not, like... If you simply just don't lose all your infestors and vipers in every fight, you got it. So... Tips for spells and micro? You can put, like, putting Vipers on the same hotkey as your Corruptors, and Infestors on the same hotkey as your ground units can help you get spells off better. Now, you'll still probably lose Infestors, and you might lose some Vipers, but it's less of a juggling act, if you will, to cast all the spells and control all the units. Usually you'll see Viper, like especially for abducts and stuff like that, if you ever watch pro games, Vipers are almost always grouped in with Corruptors. Because they have similar weaknesses and strengths. So. And Queens you can also hotkey in with your main army. Like if you have a bunch of Hydras, Lings, and Vanes, why not add the Queens? Because there are no spellcasters on there. So the Queens don't take spellcasting priority over anything like they would if, say, you had Infestors and Vipers with them. Been trying to keep spells separate, but I get my hands confused. Play more games. You gotta play the game. That's my tip. Make sure to like if you like just the tips. And also type Kappa professional.